Guy, Kristen, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was amazing. And I want to tell everybody on this call that this is all being recorded. And one of the biggest things I would tell you to do is to set a time to review this recording when you get it, because Steve and Kristen have both shared so many amazing things. And we're only 2 speakers in. We're 1 hour in. We have another hour left of great training. But right now, I want everybody to stretch, because 2 hours on a webinar is a long time. And so I just want you to just move around a little bit, take a little stretch break, make yourself feel good, because we have only just begun. We have Claudia Bazaar up next, and following her, Becky Baxter, and it is going to be amazing. So let me introduce to you Miss Claudia Bazaar. Claudia is a 3-time Lead Plus graduate who came to her very first Lead Plus seminar in March of 2016. She was an advanced director, and she left there asking the question, why not me? She promoted to executive within 4 months of leaving that seminar, then to senior executive director 1 year later in 2017. I believe we have a slide on this also, Stacia. And today she is proud to lead a national executive team. Here's a little bit of her personal stats, because again, we're going to show you that the strong personal business is the key to everything. You heard it from Steve, you heard it from Kristen, and I'm going to share it with you with Claudia. You're going to hear her say it. In 2018, she held 186 shows. She sold almost $88,000 worth of product. She recruited 69 people. Her organization followed that lead and recruited 738 new consultants. And I remember, Claudia, when you and I had the conversation and you said, I don't know if I can do the minimums for national executive status. And look at those sales. I said to you, don't worry. If you do everything, you're going to have the sales to almost $3 million. And here's my prediction. Claudia, this year you're going to cross 3.5 million. There is no doubt in my mind. So everybody, let's hear from Claudia Bazaar.
Thank you. Bonjour, everybody. Love my little hat. So yeah, so let's talk about creating that vision for your team, becoming that inspirational leader, and really casting that vision to, you know, to your entire organization. So some of you guys on this call might have 1 director, others of you might have 3 or more, right? But it doesn't matter. All right, doesn't matter how many directors you have right now. You just need to know that you can make it happen in a very, very short time if you're willing to give it your all, and if you're truly willing to believe in yourself and to believe in others. But it starts with you creating that vision for you and your team. It starts with you becoming that inspirational leader your team needs you to be. So here's something to think about when it comes to inspirational leadership. All right. So first of all, as a leader, your team is always going to follow you, and your team is a replication of who you are. So think about this, right? Are you mostly virtual? Well, then your team is probably mostly virtual, right? Are you good at selling and are you a great seller? Then you probably have a lot of great sellers on your team. Are you great at recruiting and very confident in that? Then you probably have a lot of recruiters on your team as well. But the same goes backwards. Are you not great at recruiting and growing? Well, then your team is probably not recruiting and they aren't growing either. Are you just doing, minimum couple shows a month? Then your team is only doing that as well. So to get the pattern, all right. So whether you have a team yet or not, or you're shaping your team, you're shaping the team the way it is. And that's the first thing you need to understand, is that you're walking the walk and your team follows you. So what you have to ask yourself is this. If I were to ask you to list 3 things right now that represent you and your team, what would they be? What are 3 things that represent you and your team? Now, if I were to ask you what are 3 things or 3 words that you would like your team to be known for, what would they be? Could be something like supportive, right? Encouraging, powerhouse, rock stars, growth, right? Anything like that, strong. So first of all, you need to decide, what kind of team do I want to lead and how am I going to make it happen? And maybe you have a, older team, a couple of years around the block, and maybe they aren't quite jumping on board. And that's okay too, because guess what? You're going to go out and you're going to go recruit 5 new consultants to bring that new energy in. And here's something that stuck to me from my very first Lead Plus training, and I, share it all the time. You guys, some of you have probably already heard it. And that's the difference between these 3 titles, right? Directors, leaders, and inspirational leaders. How are they different? Directors direct. They are good at telling others what to do. Leaders lead. They motivate others and they lead by example. They walk the walk themselves and expect others will follow. And when faced with a fork in the road, they always choose the path that is going to lead to the most success rather than the path that appears the easiest. And inspirational leaders, they do it all. They lead by example, they motivate others, and they totally believe in themselves and in the potential of others. So inspirational leaders believe, believe, and believe. And here's what really sets them apart. Inspirational leaders create a picture and a vision so clear that others can see themselves in it. Inspirational leaders create the vision. They don't just wait for vision to come to them, okay? So how are you going to become that inspirational leader? At the end of the day, right, everybody wants to go to Paris on this call. So you're all going to become the best inspirational leader you can be. Someone that inspires and leads their team in the right direction. Someone that inspires them to be more than they ever thought they could be. And someone that inspires them that, yes, they can do this. And yes, you will be there to support them every step of the way. That's what an inspirational leader does. Is it gonna happen overnight? Nope. But you need to know what kind of team you want so you can lead them there as an inspirational leader. There's no magic formula, there's no checklist to this, but every time you do something in your business and your team, you should ask yourself, is this inspiring my team, or how can this inspire my team? But here's the big kicker, right? If you, as their leader, don't know what you want and where you want your team to go, you can't lead them. Imagine your team sitting on a highway in a big bus and they're waiting for you to tell them where to go. They don't know where they're going. So it's true that inspirational leaders create a picture and a vision so clear that others can see themselves in it, but that vision starts with you. So what is your vision? What does it look like? Well, good news is you're all here and you know exactly what you want. Everybody wants to go to Paris, right? And maybe you haven't told anybody yet because you're kind of scared to actually admit it, but you're on this call to just kind of see how this goes. You want to become an executive director this year and you want to go to Paris. Can you see yourself in Paris? Can you see yourself as an executive director? I always say that if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. Or if your vision doesn't give you those goosebumps and helps you tear up, then you're not really seeing it and you're not really feeling it yet. And you do have to see it, you have to feel it with every molecule of your body for this vision to become reality. You must believe in it and believe that you can do this, and you must have the will to make it happen. So for me, it was the vision of creating a movement to be the youngest and fastest national executive director in the company. And I have a vision video that I did in January. And if you want to see it, just let me know. I can post it in the Paris group. But you're going to, you're going to see the passion and the goosies that I talk about in that video, and the excitement that, although it's a video, I think it comes out very good. So how is that feeling going to feel like when you get to earn that trip to Paris, when you get to be celebrated on stage as a new executive director? How big is that party going to be, and all those people you're going to bring to national conference? And how are you going to feel when you get to go to Paris? Who are you going to take with you? What are you going to do there? Those are the moments you have to play in your head. Like, Kristen said, she was playing it in her head over and over and over again to get you through those times when you start doubting yourself, because, hey, let's be real, it's going to happen, all right? Where you're going to feel overwhelmed, that's going to happen too. Or when things don't go the way you thought they were going to go. And that's going to happen too along this journey. So, or maybe those times where things were looking great, you took 2 steps forward and now you're taking 3 steps back. But you have to continue to move on. And that's why you need that vision that you play in your head over and over. All right, so let's talk about vision boards. Do you have a vision board, or are you going to be making one ASAP? All right. So here are some examples of vision boards of some of my directors that I'm working with to help them promote to executive. You can make them on Canva, you can cut and glue them, doesn't matter what they look like, all right? As long as they're fun and they represent you. And it needs to be clear what is needed, and it needs to be clear what the goal is, okay? So the vision boards in our organization, they're not just vision boards, they're really trackers too. We use them all the time, every meeting, every time you recognize anything. It is not like a separate thing that's over there, okay, that we presented once and we hope it kind of happens, right? It's part of the whole team meetings, everything, team Facebook lives, anything. And we even use like green check marks when directors go green. We have, stars from people that want to become directors and put them on there. It's really part of everything we do. Again, it's not a checklist, check, vision board, present it, on to the next thing, all right? So once you have that vision board, you present it to your team, whether it's a local meeting or probably both, a Facebook Live for those that aren't local. There are scripts under Leaders Resource Center. And honestly, when I presented my first vision board, I was so scared to death that I literally read the script next to my Zoom. Maybe it didn't look like I was reading, but I was totally reading, all right? And you can see that, there's my vision board of January of last year, and then how we ended the year. So a lot can happen with a big vision. And the other thing you can do too is if you have an upline that, you look up to, have them join you on this journey when you present that vision board to your team to make it even more official and even more fun, and have someone to help you along the way. Your team needs to know what the goal is very clearly and how they can be a part of it. But it doesn't just end with presenting the board, okay? Again, I can't stress it enough. It's everything you do is that vision for you and your team. Just think of it as like a rally, right? You're rallying them to come run this marathon with you, and you're not going to stop no matter what until you reach that goal. And every single consultant is important, whatever, whether they want to be active every month or become a director, doesn't matter. And if you present it and no one jumps on board, that's okay too, because that means you need to build a new team and you need to, bring in some new people. And that's the mindset, like Kristen said, it's a mindset that you must be in to make this big goal of Paris an executive director happen for you this year. Every time you do anything, you have to question yourself, whatever you're doing in your business, does this align with my one big goal? Is this going to get me to Paris? Is this going to get my team to the executive level? And along the way, you can see here, you can recognize everything and everyone that achieves within the vision. Or that, you know, you can recognize something you want to repeat it, like recruiting and stuff like Kristen just talked about too. Obviously, you want to promote directors, right? So recruiting, as you can see, needs to be in the forefront. So these recruiting goals are definitely key, and set big goals, okay? Don't sell yourself short. So I typically say 1 out of 10 on my personal team promotes a director, maybe 2 out of 10. So if you know those kinds of numbers and you need to promote a couple of directors to get you there this year, your recruiting needs to be off the chart. So your vision boards and your goal trackers, you know, like you just saw in the previous slide, they should be everywhere, in paper, lives, whatever. And I started planting the vision in January of last year for us to move to a national team, but I didn't just plant the vision, right? I love creating movements and I love making things come alive. So that's why everyone on this call that's working to be an executive in my organization has a little hat, right? So it's just fun little things. So for us with directorship, it was those red ruby slippers. They were everywhere. Everybody wanted them. We took pictures with them. We went live with them. We celebrated people. And when they promoted to director, they would get their own red ruby slippers. And sometimes the first thing they said when they promoted, be like, do I get my slippers? They didn't care about anything else. Okay, so that's what I mean by making it come alive, whatever that may look like for you, however you're going to celebrate your people. And let me end by saying this. You have to become that inspirational leader your team needs you to be. Your personal business has to be above and beyond, no minimum requirements, and your show schedule should be packed so you can bring in enough people to promote them, just like Steven shared, right? You're all on this call today because you have decided, I sure hope you have decided, that you're coming to Paris with us and that you're going to join us at the executive director team. And maybe you're still scared, and that's okay. You should really be scared. Being scared is a good thing, all right? If it doesn't scare you, it's probably not a big enough scary goal you have set for yourself. So along this journey over the next couple months, you're going to continue, or you're going to start to build an amazing organization and support system, and that's just going to be the beginning. All right, this is not the end. This is the beginning of something great, because I truly know that, I really truly know that we can have it all at the Pamper Chef, and Pamper Chef has it on, you know, has all these things there. The Paris trip is right there. Here are your tickets, okay? But it starts with you, and you have to believe that you can earn it. Executive, I'm just going to tell you, it's not something that, well, let's see, put the vision out there and see if somebody jumps on, and if they don't, then nothing's going to happen, right? It's really has to come from you and putting that vision together for you and your team. You have to be the dreamer, you have to be the believer, you have to pour your passion and excitement into your team, even on days or weeks where you're sick or you don't feel like it, right? Like, you just have to pour into them. And if you have someone like your upline or someone else in this business that you look up to, right, just mimic them. Go watch their training. Go see what they're doing every day to get where they want to go. The beauty is you don't have to do it alone. I don't recommend you do this alone. That's not fun, right? And I know for sure I wouldn't have the success that I'm experiencing today if it wasn't for my mentor and if it wasn't for my leader. And we're never done, all right? So don't ever think, been around for, 10, 15 years, 5 years, I've got it all figured out, right? You're never done learning in this business as long as you want to continue to grow. So as you continue in this journey to inspire yourself and to inspire your team, I want to ask you these simple questions. Is what I'm doing today, is what I'm doing this week, this month, is that going to inspire my team to want more? Am I truly leading by example? And am I willing to do what I'm asking them to do? So here are my favorite questions that I was asked at my very first Lead Plus training, and I love to share them because that was like my aha moment. That was the light bulb moment. Why not me? Why can't I earn Paris? Why can't I become an executive director? Why not each and every single one of you guys? Why can't you be the next executive director? Who says you can't? And why can't you be in Paris with all of us?
Judy, we can't hear you. You're on mute again.
I did it again. So Claudia, that was like, I have goosies. I am like, we have someone who said that they're in tears listening to you. You know, we started off with the importance of building your personal business with Steve and then with Kristen. And now the next step is to create vision for your team. And I honestly don't know anyone who does it better than Claudia and her partner in crime, Donna. They did an amazing job creating vision for their team and taking to the next level. And I know if you put these things into place, you will have the same success as well. I wish we had time for Q&A, but we took off and that's okay, Claudia. If we have some questions, put them in there. We'll make sure Claudia gets them, and we can certainly also do it through the Facebook wall. Just tag her in the, oh, I didn't say that, Claudia, I'm sorry. If you have a specific question on the Facebook wall. And right now I am going to turn it over to Miss Stacia.